Hey guys, it's Rachel. Today I'm here to do my March wrap up. Now I know it's like nearly the end of April, but I just haven't filmed my March wrap up yet. I've just been so busy. I have a new job, just all sorts of things going on in my life. I've just been very busy, but I really want to start filming more because I miss it and I really want to keep doing it. So I'm going to try film more, hopefully. So let's see how that goes. Now March was a really good reading month for me, as well as January and February. I read 8 books and it was really great, and I'm really happy with how my reading has been going, except for this month. It's now nearly the end of April and I've been doing really badly with reading this month, but let's not talk about April just yet. I'll talk about that in my April wrap up. So without further ado, let's get started with the books I read in March. The first book I read in March is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This is a YA fantasy novel and it is amazing. Oh my god, it's so good. It's about a girl called Karu. She kind of lives like a double life. Like, she's an art student in Prague, but at the same time she's also like an apprentice for this demon kind of creature called Chimera, and his name is Brimstone, and she collects teeth for him. And Brimstone lives in this place known as Elsewhere, and basically Elsewhere is starting to close, and Karu, you know, she cares about Brimstone, she has friends there, and she doesn't want this to happen. And it's a whole big story. There's also a fallen angel, and it's just so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I absolutely loved it. It was such a unique YA book, so brilliant. The characters, the writing, everything was amazing, and I really loved it. And I have the next 2 books in the trilogy, and I want to pick them up very soon because I need to see what happens next. It ended on a cliffhanger, and I hate that. Well, I love it and I hate it, but you know what I mean. But I really want to see what happens, so I'm going to be picking up the next book soon, hopefully. But I really think you should all read this book because it's so good. Please read this, it's so good. The next book I read in March is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is a contemporary novel about a girl called Lara Jean, and basically when she falls in love with a boy, she writes him a letter, but she never sends the letters. She like keeps them in like a hat or something in her bedroom. But one day all the letters to the boys she's ever loved get sent out, and she doesn't know who sent them out. She doesn't know what happened, but basically they get sent out, and so all these boys receive these letters, and it's just so, oh my god, this book was so brilliant. I just loved it so much. You know, when you're just in the mood for a nice cute contemporary, this was the perfect one if you're in the mood for something like that, because it was so good. It's such an easy read. I absolutely flew through it. So simple, but at the same time really gripping, so amazing, addictive. I really couldn't put this book down because it was just so good. I think I gave it 4.5 on Goodreads. It was really good. And I don't want to spoil this book, but there is kind of a love triangle, and the main guy, I'm gonna say, I don't want to say his name, but he is amazing. I love him so much. Oh, I love this book. It was so good. Really enjoyed this. Please pick it up if you're in the mood for a cute contemporary, because this is a really good choice. The next book I read is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. Now, a lot of people know about this book already. It's like a paranormal YA book. It's about this girl called Mara Dyer, obviously, and she wakes up in the hospital one day with no recollection of how she got there. She kind of lost her memory a bit. Like, she doesn't have amnesia or anything, but she doesn't remember what exactly happened, and she's trying to figure it out, and her memories, you know, they kind of start coming back to her. But basically she keeps having these visions of people dying, and then they actually die. So it's really weird. It's a very strange story, but I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I mean, the main character kind of frustrated me a bit, and also the main guy in this, Noah Shaw. A lot of people on BookTube and Goodreads or whatever seem to really love him, but from reading this book I didn't really get it. I liked him at the end, but for the most of the book I just didn't really see what everyone loved about him. I thought he was kind of like manipulative and just not the nicest person, and he just like used girls and stuff, and it's just, I didn't like him. But this book was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I really want to pick up the rest of the series, the rest of the trilogy, because I want to see what happens, but I don't think this book, I think I had really high expectations for this book because everyone talks about it, but honestly I didn't love it as much as I hoped I would, so yeah. The next book I picked up in March is The Iron Trial by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. If you know me, you know Cassandra Clare is like one of my favourite authors ever. I'm actually meeting her tonight at the book signing in Liberty Hall, and I am so excited, guys. Oh my god. Anyway, back to this book. This book is about a young boy called Callum Hunt, and he passes these trials to get into this like magic school called the Magisterium, and basically he makes friends, he makes enemies. It's just a really simple, kind of cute adventure story. It was good. I think I gave it 3 or 3.5. It was good. I expected a bit more, I guess, but I do want to pick up the next book. And honestly, I think it was just really weird reading something Cassandra Clare has written that isn't about Shadowhunters, but it was still really good. I was kind of expecting more like a Harry Potter vibe to it, but wasn't really like that. It was pretty strange, to be quite honest, but it was enjoyable, and I do want to pick up the next book so I can see what happens next. From March 13th to March 20th, I think it was, there was this readathon that I participated in called Slay That Series, which I mentioned before in previous videos, and basically you do what the title says, you slay any series that you haven't finished, or you start a new series and read the whole series in the space of those 8 days. So I only read 2 books in the Slay That Series readathon, and I honestly didn't participate as much as I wanted to, but it ended up being a really busy week for me, and it was like St. Patrick's Day as well that week, and it was just crazy. I didn't get to participate in any of the like sprints on Twitter and Instagram or anything, which makes me really sad, but hopefully next time I will participate more. But I did read 2 books, so it wasn't too bad. And the first one of those books is Allegiance by Veronica Roth. I don't think I have to explain this book really. I mean, most people know what Divergent is about, and this is obviously the 3rd and final book. I read Divergent and Insurgent years ago, loved them, and I just never picked this one up because I've heard so many negative things. But honestly, I really enjoyed this. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. I really enjoyed it, and I bawled my eyes out at the end. Even though I've known for years what the big plot twist at the end is, I still cried my eyes out. I got really emotional, and it's one of those books that even like days and weeks after I finished it, I still couldn't stop thinking about it. And if an author can make that happen, I think it's a success. So I was actually really impressed with this book, and I actually don't understand all the negativity about this book. I don't think I've seen one booktuber say like a positive thing about this book, which makes me really sad because I thought it was really good, and even though the ending was heartbreaking, I think it was something different to end a YA trilogy. It's not usually the thing that happens. Yeah, I'm glad that Slay That Series finally made me pick it up, so thank you to Sarah and Chami for creating this readathon. And the second book I picked up in the Slay That Series readathon is P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. This is obviously the second book to All the Boys I Loved Before. It's a duology, so technically I still did, you know, go with the Slay That Series rules because I finished the second book in the duology. And I really enjoyed this. I don't think I loved it as much as I loved the first one. There's a lot of things I expected in this book and didn't happen. Like, there's like a new character, and there's still, you know, there's still the previous characters from the first book, of course, but we're introduced to someone new, and it's just really great seeing how the story ties up. And the ending was kind of sudden, but I was happy with how it ended, I guess, because I have my favourite guy in it, and I don't want to say any more. And I really want to read Jenny Han's other series, The Summer I Turned Pretty. I already have the first book, but I want to wait till it's actually summer so I can read that trilogy. But honestly, this duology was really good, and I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely going to be something I'll reread again because it was just so addictive and so brilliant, and I loved it. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. The next book I read in March is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the second book in the Raven cycle, the first book being The Raven Boys, which I read in January, I believe, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, I love it so much. And this is the second book, and I didn't love it as much as The Raven Boys, but I still really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 or maybe 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I can never remember my ratings, guys, okay? I read too many books, I don't remember all my ratings. But anyway, I'm obviously not going to say what this book is about because I don't want to spoil The Raven Boys, but basically The Raven Boys is about this girl called Blue, who is a psychic's daughter, and she meets these guys, the Raven Boys, 4 Raven Boys, and she becomes really good friends with them, and they're all trying to find these things called ley lines, which are like spiritual lines that they're like lines of energy that connect spiritual places, and they're trying to find this dead Welsh king because apparently he can offer them favours. Pretty much. It's a very strange story, I must say. It's definitely one of the most unique series I've ever read. I'm currently reading the 3rd book, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and I'm loving it so much. I'm actually loving it more than this one so far, so yeah. But The Raven King, the last book in the series, is coming out next week, or this week? 26th, I think. I think it's 26th of April, and I'm really excited for it, so yeah, I really want to see how the series ties up because it is so good. Definitely one of my favourite YA series ever. It's fantasy, it's amazing, it's beautiful, I love it, I love it, I love it. And the characters are the best part. They are so great, they're also unique and different, and I love them all so much. The next book I read in March is Half Bad by Sally Green. This is about a boy called Nathan, and basically he's half white witch, half black witch, which white witches are seen as like the good side and the black witches are like the bad side. They're kind of seen as like evil, and he's half and half, so he's kind of discriminated against, I guess, and basically he gets taken away and he's kind of locked up, I guess, and just a load of bad things happen to this poor boy. But he's such a great character. He's really strong. Even in the worst possible situations, he remains tough and he remains himself, and he just doesn't give up, and he's such an admirable character. This book was very interesting, but I kind of had really high expectations and it just didn't really live up to them. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. My boyfriend bought me the second and third book in this trilogy. The third book I already have, which just came out, and it's called Half Lost, and then I'm waiting for the other one to arrive at my door. So I really want to finish this trilogy and see how it goes. I've heard really great things about this, but particularly the booktuber Benjamin of Tomes, that's one of his favourite series, and he's like made me really want to read them, and I really hope that I like the second and third book more than this book, I guess, because this book was good but I didn't love it and I expected a bit more. But I do just want to see what happens and see where the story goes. So I'll hopefully be reading the rest of the trilogy very soon. The last book I read in March, I actually don't have a physical copy because the physical copy isn't coming out until November. That is the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, which, if you don't know, are 10 short stories about... Basically, it takes place right after City of Heavenly Fire, where Simon goes to the Shadowhunter Academy. So the 10 stories are basically him and all his adventures and his friendships and all in the Shadowhunter Academy. And while it's not 100% necessary to read these tales before you read Lady Midnight, it's definitely a lot better because there's so many things that happen in the tales from the Shadowhunter Academy that you learn more about in Lady Midnight, but you need to read it first. It's just, oh my god. If you read Lady Midnight, there'll be like certain characters or certain things that are mentioned that you won't have a clue about because you haven't read the tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. So I just think it's a lot better. It's a much better reading experience when you read Lady Midnight if you read the tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. So I really think you guys should read it if you haven't. Even if you have read Lady Midnight, still read those tales because they're really good. It's so interesting reading from Simon's point of view for once, because we don't really get that very often, and obviously Simon is one of the most well-loved characters that Cassandra Clare has ever made. So yeah, there's 10 short stories and I have an individual review for each one on my Goodreads, so I'm not going to say all the ratings, so if you want to know, I'll leave that link down below. And I really think you should check out those tales because they're so good, and Cassandra Clare and everything, and Simon and Shadowhunters, and yes, amazing. Sorry, I just love everything about Shadowhunters. So yeah, go read them, please go read them. So that is it for my March wrap up. Wow. As I said, April is not the best reading month for me so far, and it's nearly over now, so my April wrap up is going to be a lot shorter than this one. But anyway, I'll hopefully be filming that soon as well. I also want to film my Lady Midnight review because I haven't done a review video yet, and Lady Midnight I think is the perfect choice for like my first review video because there's so much about it that I want to I need to discuss and talk about. So hopefully I'll be filming that soon as well. And as I said earlier, I'm meeting Cassandra Clare today and I'm so excited, guys. Oh my god, it's gonna be amazing. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your day and I will see you soon. Slán live!